Welcome to episode 6 of We Went to Miami. And I have with me today a celebrity, dare I say, a trivia sensation, someone who I have many questions for. Welcome, Liz Quesnelle. Am I pronouncing your last name right?
It's actually pronounced Canal. It
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
look like that, but yeah, it's pronounced Canal. But I
That
answer
is
to
so
pretty much
amazing.
anything.
No, I'm running that back. I should have asked you that before we started. I'm
I
so
should have
sorry.
mentioned that.
Say it for me one more time.
Canal.
Canal. Okay.
Canal.
Welcome to the podcast, Liz Canal.
Hi, I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you so much for reaching out and having me on the podcast.
Absolutely. Liz came highly recommended by a friend of the pod, dare I say. I feel like you can't say that unless you have like a really popular show, but I'm going to say it.
I think you should say it. She is a friend of the pod.
She is. Shout out Carrie Handel, a friend of the pod. We do open calls for guests at the beginning of each season. And Carrie Handel pitched Liz, and quickly you guys will understand why Liz was a no-brainer to have on this pod. Liz, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I graduated from Miami in 1997 after being on the
Nice.
5-year plan with a degree in theater. Have fallen into trivia as my major hobby, but now it's also kind of my job, and game shows are what I call my part-time job. So I'm a Jeopardy champion. I've been on The Chase where I won money on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I'm Trivial Pursuit, and I'm actually going to be filming a 5th game show shortly. So you'll get to hear all about that when it comes out. But it's a lot of fun. And my journey from Miami was completely unconventional. So I figured there might be other students who might not be sure about where they're going to end up in life. And I want to let them know that the journey is like the fun part, right? Like,
Well, absolutely. And like the fact that you've been on Jeopardy, you've been on all the shows. I mean,
yes.
I'm excited to get into it, but before that, I want to kind of map out. You mentioned you were on a 5-year plan at Miami
hmm
with theater. I'm not familiar with that. What is a 5-year plan?
Well, so the reason it was a 5-year plan was because I entered as a BFA in acting, and then
Oh,
I
cool.
shifted gears to get a BA in theater because I really fell in love with costume design and makeup and all of that. So when I did that, though, there are different requirements for the School of Fine
Uh,
Arts and the School of Arts and Sciences. So it did add on another year for me. I could have done it in a semester, but like, why? So
yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
not
worked.
worth.
I worked and took 2 classes a semester on my 5th year just to finish up.
That's incredible. And so, walk me through. You graduate Miami. You've got
Mhm,
your degree.
mhm.
What happens next?
2 weeks after I graduate, I moved from a little Oxford, Ohio to Manhattan. So that was
What?
kind of a shift, especially as somebody who grew up in suburbia. But I always knew I wanted to live in an urban area. And obviously, when I contemplated theater as sort of my life's path, um, where are you going to do that? You're going to do that in a larger city usually.
Oh,
So I moved right to New York. Had an internship in advertising because in the late 90s, it was kind of like, do you have a degree? Great, come work here. I mean, the job market was, um, it was like shooting fish in a barrel, like for graduates. That turned into a full time job, and I did that as a career for 4 years.
okay.
But I love the people I work with, but man, did I hate working behind a desk. I
Yeah.
hated it. So I moved to Chicago after about a year and a half in New York, was still working in advertising, and became really interested in becoming an esthetician, which is not to be confused with anesthetist. People
Yes.
get that confused all the time. I was doing facials and skincare, not putting people to sleep before operations. So I went back to beauty school to get my license and immediately hung out a shingle and had my own business
That's
for
awesome.
a decade in Chicago. Yeah, so it was just
And
sort of
during this, were you like auditioning as well on the side, or were
I
you
was
just kind of
involved in theater in Chicago. I
okay?
didn't do anything in New York, but in Chicago, I fell in with a theater company that is now defunct. It was called Ground Up Theater. They did one of the things that they did every year was a very successful Valentine's Day cabaret show
Oh,
where we
cool.
actually go out letters throughout the year, collected letters throughout the year from people who had seen the show in the past, and we would turn them blindly into a series of monologues, songs, puppet
Fun.
pieces, whatever. It was so much fun. It was called Letter Sex. I did that every year. I did some costume designing for some other theater companies in Chicago, including one show that was directed by Sheldon Patinkin, who is Mandy Patinkin's brother. He's a relatively well-known name. Sheldon is in theater, so that was an honor. So I was doing all that while I was working in advertising and starting out my esthetician
That's
business.
awesome. Also, just the fact that you got to continue watering that when you were
Yes.
in advertising, like, I feel like so many people, especially, like, this is graduation week at Miami that we're
Mhm.
filming, and, so many people get their post-grad job and they're like, this was not the plan, but this is
Mhm.
where I've landed and, like, I have to pay my bills and student debt's coming and
Yep.
I have to just do it, and it almost feels like this resignation of your dreams.
Yes.
And, do you just have any advice for people who are graduating who are like, "Man, like, I thought life was gonna go one way. I'm now realizing the job market is what it is. I'm
Mhm.
doing something I don't like. Does that mean I have to give up everything else I loved and, like, studied for years?"
Yeah, absolutely not, and you do not have to do that. The job market is, from my understanding, from my nieces and nephews, pretty rocky,
Yeah.
especially right out of college. But here's the thing, and this is what I told them, you don't have to do this. Your first job out of college, that doesn't define your life. You
Yeah.
don't have to work at an accounting firm your whole life unless you want to, right?
Yeah.
Get a job now, get some money coming in, get some experience, and keep your eyes open for other opportunities, whether it's, as you put it, like sort of watering my theater skills
Yeah.
and keeping up with that a little bit, or thinking about another educational opportunity.
Yeah.
There's information all around you that can help guide you different areas. Like if you are unhappy with your life, there are ways to change it. And I know that sounds very privileged. There are difficulties for different people. Yeah, you don't ever feel like you are stuck
Yeah,
in job.
it's temporary.
Yes. Yes. You just need to know what you're doing right now. You don't need
Yeah.
to know what is going to be happening in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years.
And so when you made the change from being in Chicago, doing advertising to being like, for lack of better terms, "Fuck it, we ball. I'm gonna go become an esthetician, and I'm gonna go, like, completely switch industries."
Yes.
I mean, was that scary?
It was terrifying.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny, I look back now and I'm like, "What the hell was I thinking?" Like, "I'm gonna open my own business right out of this," right? Like, that was insane. But, it worked. I had the business for 10 years, and I found a niche for myself, which was utilizing some of my theatrical makeup skills. I really fell in with corrective cosmetics and how they can be used for people with various congenital or acquired skin disorders like
Oh,
vitiligo
cool.
or discoid lupus or anything like that, and because it's a tricky makeup to work with. It's very thick.
Yeah.
It can look very heavy, much like theatrical makeup. So I had some skills to be able to really utilize that. So doctors would send patients to me who were interested in those sorts of services, and that is partially why I was successful for 10 years. I also ended up teaching a class at Columbia College in Chicago. They had a makeup certification program, and they
So
reached
cool.
out to me to teach a class in corrective cosmetics. So that was great because it's something I really do believe in. And I'm trying to actually get back into doing a little bit of it, not as a career, but like as a volunteer,
Yeah.
to help people out because it's a really good service and it's for people who could use it.
That's incredible, and you mentioned, at a certain point, you had folks reaching out to you for, like,
Mhm.
teaching, for instructing. What did that become a recurring theme for you as you continued to get older? Like, I don't know how you ended up falling into trivia shows, but were you, like in my head, it's like you were like, I don't know if you heard about this recent model that was, like, discovered on the subway with, like, Gucci, and
Oh,
now she's
yes, yes, yes.
like, were you just, like, on a subway one day and someone was like, "You belong in Jeopardy?" Like, how did this happen?
Oh, no. Trivia was happening slowly throughout, like, the
Okay.
whole of my life, right? There's a famous story in Quesnelle family lore where my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, he would go, and this is gonna sound really weird, and nothing untoward happened or anything, but he would
Okay.
go and he would get into the shower, and obviously have the shower curtain closed, and he would demand, when I was, like, 6,
Yeah.
5, 6, whatever, that I would come in because I could read very early, and he had this giant book of sports trivia, and I would sit on the toilet, like with the lid closed, and read him sports trivia while he showered.
Okay.
And it was like super bizarre and creepy. My mom's like, "Where the hell was I when this was going on?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing untoward happened. He just wanted to know trivia."
He just wanted to
So
brush up on his facts.
yeah, right? He needed to know about somebody's RBI or whatever, and so we laugh about that. He likes to take credit for my trivia successes to this
As a
day.
sibling would, yeah.
As a sibling would, exactly. So that was my first sort of like exposure to trivia. And then as I went through schooling, I was always one of those kids that was not necessarily the best student, probably because I had undiagnosed ADHD,
Mhm.
I would just be like so interested in a topic, and then I'd either get laser focused in it, like a super, well, they didn't have Wikipedia when I was young, but like just a deep dive into a
Yeah.
topic that I found fascinating.
Were you, like,
Um,
reading encyclopedias then?
oh yeah, I was like
That's nuts.
encyclopedias or like almanacs, like, you know,
An almanac?
yeah, like
What's
I
an
just was
almanac?
anything that was like I could learn from or find
Okay.
interesting facts in. So, but that also meant that topics I wasn't interested in, like mathematics, wah, wah, wah. So my teachers would be like,
Yeah.
Liz is really smart. Why is she getting C's? And it's like, well, because I don't like math. And
Fair,
so I'd
yeah.
rather read about the Great Migration, whatever
Yeah.
it was. So,
Okay.
but so, and then when I got to high school, there was like an academic bowl team, and I went to a
Oh,
Catholic
cool.
school, yeah, called Fenwick in Middletown, and they have a very popular Latin club. And I was in that, and they have like a Latin quiz bowl. It's called Latin Cartomen, and you'd go to other schools with Latin programs and compete against them with the buzzers and everything.
Oh, fun.
And so that really got me into trivia. Like,
Okay.
this is fun.
That's awesome. And, like, from then,
Mhm.
were you ever like, "This is going to be something I do forever," or was this just like, "Oh, this is a fun high school club. I'm enjoying this now. I don't see anything long term here."
At the time, I didn't see anything long term, but mainly because I was unfamiliar with opportunities that existed out
Yeah.
there. When I got to Miami and was of age, like pub trivia was getting bigger in like larger cities, but not really Oxford at the time. But finally, Mac and Joe's put in like a buzzworthy, like it's like a box, and it was like national trivia that was like on a satellite channel, and like you'd answer the questions, whatever. So you
Okay.
could compete against people in the bar or across the country or whatever. And I became obsessed with that.
That's awesome.
My friends would be like, "Oh my god, can we please go elsewhere than other than Mac and Joe's?" Because
Yeah.
like we love Mac and Joe's, but holy crap, you play trivia all the time. So yeah, then I started thinking, learning about like bar trivia, like actual, like where there's somebody reading a question
Yeah.
out. And so I started then going to trivia nights when I lived in New York, and then
Yeah.
Chicago. It was like, forget it. I was like at like 3 trivia nights a week.
That's awesome. Have you been to Oxford, like, in the past couple years for trivia at all?
I have not. The last
Okay.
time I was in Oxford was, oh my gosh. I'm like, it wasn't that long ago, but now I think it was like maybe it was pre-COVID, definitely, maybe 2019. Megan
Okay.
Peters, who's like my absolute inspiration for everything. She ran the
Oh,
costume shop at Miami, and she was teaching a makeup class in the new fashion design program, or
okay.
um, fashion design minor. And she's like, I don't know shit about like popular makeup or anything like that. So I came in, I did a couple of Zoom classes for her class, and then I physically came in to Oxford and taught a class in person.
The reason I asked is because Top Deck, which I
Yeah.
don't know if that was Top Deck around?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Top deck and skippers. Yep.
Yes, okay. Top Deck does trivia on Wednesdays,
Ooh.
and
Is it
it's
competitive?
very to the point where this was a large part of my own, like, Miami journey. I was
Yeah.
not good, don't get me wrong,
I
but
bet you're better than you think.
so my team this whole time, there's this one team that would always get first,
Mhm.
and, like, they naturally just became our nemesis because we wanted to beat them, like, 1.
Yes, I'm familiar with this.
Oh, I'm sure, and I'm sure you're many, bar trivia people's nemesis, but my senior year, my final trivia night, we finally beat them. It took all 4 years, which
Oh,
was,
congratulations.
thank you, awful, but so gratifying.
Like, finally.
No, and was I a insufferable human being after that? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
To
I
the
think
point
you
where I
did
still
different.
remember it, like, fondly. But that's incredible, and one, what's your strategy when you're going to, like, bar trivia? Are you looking up the vibes prior? Do you have a set team? Like, how are you going into this?
I usually have a set team here in Pittsburgh, and Chicago is a little bit more fluid. And I've even sometimes played by myself. I mean, I listen to word of mouth. Certainly, there are different trivia companies that I like better than others. There's one here in Pittsburgh called Drew's Clues that's outstanding, and I try to go to his games, and he's got them all over the city. But usually, I don't really have a great strategy. I mean, the best strategy to have in these sorts of situations is to build a team that has not a lot of overlapping knowledge.
That makes
But,
sense.
I like when I'm doing bar trivia, I kind of am like, I'm here to have fun with my friends and just play some trivia.
So you're
So
not taking
I'm
it too
less
serious.
concerned with like building a super team where it's like,
Okay.
you know TV and movies and you know celebrity gossip and you know history. Like, no, I mean,
Okay. So it is chill to like I could survive like trivia with you. Like I
no,
wouldn't.
absolutely, absolutely. And I do not get mad during trivia. I get mad sometimes at myself, but I don't get like mad at teammates if they miss something or uh, I, it's it's
Okay.
supposed to be fun. It's a game.
You're there for the vibes.
I am there. Yeah.
Okay. Now does that translate when you're on like a game show?
Oh
Or
no,
are
I'm highly
you
competitive on
okay?
game. Highly competitive. That said, I'm a good sport. I would not ever be an asshole on TV.
Yeah. Asshole off TV.
Or to my player or or to other players.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying. Like even when I watch Jeopardy, it's like so easy for like the peanut gallery who's sitting on their couch to like be
Weigh
critical
in.
of who's
Yeah.
but it's very intense being up there. And so people make mistakes that they wouldn't normally make in if they're like playing at their local bar.
Yeah.
But that said, I want to win, so I am very competitive while I
I
am.
can imagine. So what did it look like when you were like, okay, I need to like audition for a game show? Like what was that moment for you?
So that was in 2015, and Jeopardy had been talking about their online application, like and so online test. So I took the online test one day, and have you ever taken the online test?
No, should I? Like, is this
Yeah,
what I need to do
absolutely.
after this? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because right now, and now it's like rolling. Like it used to be like very set times of the year when you took it.
Okay.
And now it's a rolling process. So it's like available all the time, and everyone should take it because a it's kind of fun, and b that's how I got on Jeopardy. That's how I really got started
Okay,
in
so
my
there was
game
no
show career.
in, you
Right.
fully just filled out the form.
I filled out the form and then there's a test. So it's 50 questions. It
Okay.
is timed. Wide variety of questions, and you type in the answer. And even if like you get a partial answer in there, they'll count it. Like they're not, you don't have to fully complete
Yeah.
it, or it's not a spelling test as long as they can tell what you're saying. And from there, they don't tell you how you do on it. So you
Oh,
sort of have to guess a little bit.
mhm.
And from there, they never say how many questions it's like the cutoff to like sort of make it into the next
Second pool.
group, but it's believed to be about 30 to
Okay.
50 that you need to
That
get
makes
correct.
sense.
Yeah. And so about a month after I took that, I got a phone call,
Oh, wow.
or an note, and it was Jeopardy saying, "We'd like to see you at an in-person audition." Again, this is pre-COVID. Now they don't even do in-person auditions. It's all done over Zoom.
Mhm.
So I had to go to Boston
Oh, wow.
and I had to take another 50 question test, but this time they're all like looking at you
You're like
because they want to make
proctor.
sure that when you did the online one, you didn't have like 8 friends over there like mouthing the answers to you or whatever.
Yeah.
So you take that and then they grade those and then they say, okay, like we need these people to stay. And then they go through um a mock Jeopardy round and they want to talk to you. They want to see you on camera, like see if you freeze or whatever. And after that, about a month later, I got called and they said, "Hey, how would you like to come to Culver City to film in about 3 weeks?" And I about fell out of my chair because it happened so
Yeah.
quickly, but I did. And with Jeopardy, because they give you 2,000 or 3,000 now for like first, third, and second places, you have to pay your own way there. Like they don't
Yeah.
cover
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay.
But the second and third place prize is ostensibly large enough that it would cover your expenses for going.
Yeah. But that
And that was it. And then I was fortunate to have Alex Trebek. Not that Ken Jennings isn't great. I absolutely love Ken,
yeah.
but it was awesome to get to meet Alex Trebek and
100%.
have him read my game and have Johnny Gilbert saying my name. It was just wild. It was wild.
And when you said yes, were you like, "Holy crap, what did I just agree to?" Or, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is, like, legit." Like, what was going through your head when you're, like, actively traveling to be on Jeopardy? Also, like, are you allowed to tell people? Is it, like, secret?
It's supposed to be a secret. I mean, everyone tells like their closest friends, but like you
Yeah.
don't like put it on the internet or
Yeah, you're
anything
not
like that.
posting.
I was nervous as heck. I mean, I was really like anxious, and then I was watching Jeopardy like nonstop in the 3 weeks before I left.
Oh gosh, yeah, studying. I forgot
Yeah.
you, like, probably you're studying. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, yep, studying, and the thing is, like, with Jeopardy, and I always like to tell people that who are thinking about trying out this, I mean, obviously, you can't study every topic in the world, but there
Yeah.
are categories that repeat and are commonly on Jeopardy. So the things you'd wanna brush up on that often come up are Shakespeare characters, world capitals, state capitals, um, potables. There's just a variety of things like that. So you can narrow down and really focus your scoring. Opera comes up and everyone hates opera. They even call it the dreaded opera category now.
That's so funny.
So I brushed up on opera. It didn't come up in my game, but
Okay.
I've since pretty much forgotten all of it because for some reason, opera does not stick in my head.
And so after you won Jeopardy,
Mhm.
did you just end up in this, like, gigantic talent pool for trivia players? Like, what was, like, the aftermath of that?
So once you win Jeopardy, it's like Jeopardy is sort of the gold standard, right?
Okay.
And if they vet you and you don't freeze on television and you're not a jerk and whatever, other casting people think it's safe to cast you because Jeopardy has
Mm.
already done all this legwork on you. And
Work.
if you, and
Yeah.
they are such pros, it is like a smooth, seamless process from like start to finish of getting you like through the whole process. And so, yeah, it becomes much easier like on applications to say, oh, I was a Jeopardy champion. I get a phone call. And then now I've been on going on 5 shows that I actually get casting people. I'm in all of their like Rolodexes or whatever
Mm.
people use now. And so they reach out to me when they have a show. Hey,
That's
Liz,
awesome.
I think, you'd be great on this. Please fill out an application. And sometimes I am eligible and sometimes I'm not because game shows have sort of arbitrary rules in terms of you can only be on a game show one like if a game show won't want you if you've been on one within the past 12 months or that's aired in the
Oh.
past 12 months or the show wants to kind of own your likeness
Mm.
for a year so you can't be on a show
For a
legally
whole
for
year.
another year from the back end. So there's some of that going on. So there have been plenty of shows that I'm like, dang it, I'm not going to be eligible for this.
Yeah. Of the ones you've been on so far, I mean,
Mhm.
which one has been your favorite? Am I allowed to ask?
Jeopardy is probably my favorite because
Yeah.
it really introduced me to what I call the trivia underbelly of America, where there's like all these like really fantastic trivia folk, and a lot of them were on Jeopardy, but they also like there are these online trivia leagues that are highly competitive. So I really like playing in those because it's all a bunch of people who are good at trivia, and so it's super challenging, and the questions are good. And so like I learned all about things like that. I learned from them like when other shows are casting, or so Jeopardy really like launched me into this sphere, like full stop.
I love that.
The Chase was probably my other it's so hard. The Chase would have been my second one because I beat James Holzhauer on that one, who I
Okay.
don't know if you know who Jeopardy James is.
I
So
do not.
Jeopardy James or James Holzhauer, he is like the second highest money winner on Jeopardy. He was like a guy from Las Vegas who's like a sports bettor who's
Oh, cool.
insanely good and would wager like do true daily doubles left and right. Like
Oh,
so
wow.
his payday would be like $90,000. Like he was insane.
Holy.
So
Yeah.
good. So I had to face him in the chase and beat him, which was like the high
That's
point of my like
yeah.
personal trivia life, right?
That's incredible. And for the chase, was prep extremely different than Jeopardy? Was it similar?
Uh, it was similar, I kind of brushed up on certain things. It was a little more pop culture heavy than
Yeah.
Jeopardy is. So I paid more attention to like Oscar winners or like,
Mm.
celebrity baby names or whatever.
Celebrity baby names is such a good
Oh,
category.
it is such a good category. I love when they ask celebrity baby names.
Do you have a favorite celebrity baby name?
Geez. I think it's a Penn Jillette has a child named Moxie Crime Fighter, I think,
That's incredible.
which
I would
is
never have
like
known that.
outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a phenomenal you said that and I was like, "That is a crazy good trivia topic." Yeah,
But
I can under
my all-time favorite trivia question has a Miami link.
well, now you gotta tell us what the all-time trivia question is.
So it's a sports question
Oh gosh, okay.
and
I
sports and history.
famously don't do well on sports on this show.
It's sports and history. So there
Okay.
have been 5 universities that have graduated both a Super Bowl winning champion or quarterback, Super Bowl winning champion quarterback, and a US president.
And we would be one of those.
You would be one of those. And it's one I love
Oh.
asking at a bar because people are always like, oh, you do trivia? Tell me your favorite trivia question. And it's a real fun one to do at a bar anyways, because everyone's
Yeah.
and that's of course, even here in Pittsburgh, that one does not come up. Like people do not guess it. And I'm like, Big Ben. Big Ben, you jerks! Like,
And we had
he's the franchise quarterback here, for God's sake.
we had did we have more than one president? I know we had at least one.
Benjamin Harrison
Yeah,
is the
that's the
president in
yeah,
my
because Harrison
Yep,
Hall.
that was the only U.S. president.
Okay. Oh, we got one. Go Miami.
Yeah, exactly. So that's better than most colleges.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so
That's
the
such a
the
good
answer
one.
for anybody who wants to know at home is Michigan, Miami, Stanford, the Naval Academy, and Delaware.
That's I would not have guessed Delaware either.
Joe Biden and Joe Flacco, who was the quarterback for the
Whoa!
Ravens
That's that was
in
such
the
a good
early 2000s.
one.
Early
Thank you for
2000s.
that, Liz.
Yeah.
And so, while you're, like, studying for these and you're, like,
Mhm.
casually on a bunch of game shows, you also are owning your business, no?
Yeah. Yep. And my business here in Chicago for a long, or not here in Chicago, and here in Pittsburgh, because I moved to Pittsburgh in 2011. Um, it was owning a retail store that sold makeup, skincare, fragrance, things like that,
Okay.
sort of an independent Sephora, if you will. And so, yeah, I'd be doing all my day to day things that I need to do to keep a retail store up and running and still like trying to brush up on other things, like brush up on my trivia knowledge, fall down random rabbit holes as I do,
Mm.
and also watch all the current like trivia shows to just keep playing and playing in my own leagues too. So
Was that
that it gets
overwhelming?
to be hectic around game show time.
Okay. That's what I was gonna say, I was like, it has to be at least a little overwhelming trying to manage all of that, no?
Yeah. No, definitely, and I am not always the best, again, ADHD, or organizer of my time.
I don't think anyone truly is though, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't know, everyone who I think, like, I see very, I perceive as, like, having their time slots really well, I'm like, they probably don't have it as put together as I think they do.
Which is a comforting thought, really.
It is, because 'cause I'm like, "You know what?" Because 'Cause I'm like, sometimes I'm like, "People probably think that about me, and it could not be further from the truth," and so I need to carry that at the forefront. But for you, is there a method to the madness of balancing it all for you, or is it really just, like, one day at a time?
It's one day at a time,
Mm,
really. I have my to-do list and I have like this absolutely must get done today. And then things that are like should get done and things that's like, oh, I have time to do this. But I do make time every day for my trivia. And in fact, I closed my store. So my balancing's a lot easier now because I'm now working in trivia. I
that's
write
awesome.
sets of questions,
Oh,
which I
cool.
present at a bar here, but also people purchase, or like other hosts from around the country who don't like any of the trivia that's on offer wherever they live. So
Mm,
they will buy my sets.
that's
And
so
then,
awesome.
yeah, it's super fun. And then I also get a lot of commissions. So a
Oh,
lot of businesses or corporations to do like team building or birthdays, bridal showers, anniversary
oh, wow.
parties, and graduations. I've got a ton of college graduation parties coming up that I writing trivia about. Like, 'cause it's like, oh, our kid's a real big trivia fan. Like, could you come and host trivia at the event? Okay, yeah,
And did
sure.
this, was this, like, a targeted side hustle on your end, or did people just start
It was
coming
started
to
as
you?
a targeted side hustle, and now it's like
Okay.
my job,
That's
which is
awesome.
great. Because then it's like by writing trivia, it helps my trivia play.
Yeah. If any of our listeners wanna, commission you, how would they go about that?
You could just go to my website, which is madcaptrivia.com. And there's like a contact box there. Or you can email me at liz@madcaptrivia.com.
Okay, we'll have that in the show notes, everyone, because I'm sure at least 5 of you were like, "Wait a minute," when Liz said that. So, that is so good to know, and we'll definitely keep that in our show notes. I wanna kinda pivot, though, and do a bit of a Miami rapid fire, if
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
mind, please.
Oh, no.
Not in a trivia way that you probably are ready or maybe I'll try to throw in something for you, but gosh, I really should have been like, "We're nixing the rapid fire, we're just doing Miami trivia." Not gosh,
That would have been hilarious.
hindsight is 2020. God, that would've been such a good bit. Uh, but I did wanna ask, if you were to and these are, listener submitted questions, but
Mhm.
if you were to open up a business uptown in this
Mhm.
current day, what would you open?
I am not sure if there is anything like this now, but I actually would open my cosmetic fragrance skincare store right
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah, I would 1000%. Last time I was in Oxford, it was like a Tuesday night, and I was like, uh, all the girls, all the women were like so put together in a way that I certainly never was in college. And I thought, holy crap. So yeah, I think there's a good market for that amongst this body.
And now that you say that, I'm like, there's really no cosmetic I mean, besides, like, drugstores, there's no cosmetic
Yeah.
stores up there,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, so I'd open up and
Phenomenal answer.
thanks.
What would be your dream day in Oxford? And because people have asked, yes, you can time travel if you need
Oh,
to.
oh, good. Um, because I don't know what the heck's there now. My dream day would be I would start at the costume shop gossiping with Megan and, like, working on, like, wigs. I had really enjoyed wig building when I was there.
That's awesome.
It's super fun. And then after the morning spent there, late morning, I'd go back to my house, which used to be 18 East Walnut. The house is no longer there. I
Oh,
think there's either an apartment building or a hotel there. It's right down the alley from Mac and Joe's and CJ's.
okay.
But the 2020 it used to be the 2020 1010 bike race, um, would go by our house, so we'd always have a party in our yard,
Cute.
t and, like, cheer on the bikers, but also we made it the 2020 1010 40/40 party, where you had to drink a 40 or maybe 2 40s. So
Okay. Yes. Liz does not play. And that's what you're reliving? Holy crap, Liz. Good for you.
well, I probably wouldn't be able to do the 40s, but
But you're time
it was
traveling, so you would. Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yes, it would be great. And then after that, I would probably go and hang out at either the ATO or the SIU House, which were fraternities in the
Okay.
90s that I hung out at a lot. The guys were there's always something crazy going on at them. And I was friends with, like, all the dudes. In fact, I lived in the SIU House one summer. Like,
Oh,
that's
wow. Honorary
that was
brother
interesting. I was like,
Liz.
"Dad, you're gonna move me into this, fraternity house for the summer. I'm the only lady staying here." But, yeah, so I'd probably go hang out there, hacky sack because it's the '90s,
Yeah. That feels appropriate.
and then in the evening, I would probably go to Mac and Joe's and play trivia.
I love it. That is a perfect day.
Oh, and I definitely would go to Bodega because I feel like people, I love Bagel and Deli, I love all the places, but people sleep on Bodega, man. Nobody ever talks about Bodega, and they have the best sandwiches.
Here's my hot take, and I don't think I've said this on the pod, in the 1.5 seasons we've had. I think Bagel and Deli's overrated. I
Oh,
know. Bagel and Deli, if you're listening to this, you are a friend of the pod. I am not representative of anyone at the Alumni Association. It's just, I don't know. It never spoke to me the way it speaks to masses.
yeah.
And I don't think anyone's mentioned Bodega on the pod thus yet. So I love that Bodega's getting their moment.
Yeah,
Was Kafenya around when you were at school?
it was not.
Okay.
What is that a coffee house?
Yes, it's a coffee house and it's very eclectic. You would love it. It seems very much your vibe, Liz. They
Yeah.
now own Bodega.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the OG owners of Bodega were selling, and Kofenya grabbed it and saved it, actually.
That is fantastic. I am
So you've
definitely
gotta
going
go.
to, go to
Yeah,
California then when I go to Oxford because I wanna support that.
100%. And my final question for you is, I think a lot of people, when they look back at their Miami journey, and even now, so much of it still remains. And sometimes there are people that we meet at college or professors
Mhm.
that we meet that end up becoming mentors, dear friends, years beyond we graduate. So, any
Mhm.
Miami shout outs from you that you want to give?
Oh, absolutely. Well, so I already mentioned Megan Peters, who just retired. So
Congrats.
I hope she enjoys her retirement, but she was, like, the best person to, like, help guide me through, like, what I was doing in the costume department
Yeah.
and theater and just life in general. She's just like the best person ever. I would and my other shout outs, I'd also like to shout out Dr. Howard Blanning, who was
Okay.
amazing in the theater department. He was one of my favorite professors ever. And he ran a summer program in the Czech Republic that I went to in 1994 that was like next level. And then finally, I want to shout out to my girls from freshman year their dorm,
Oh,
which was Tappan. My roommate Tippy, Abby, Katie, Rebecca, them's my girls. We had the best time in that dorm, and we're randomly put together. So, like, Tippy
yeah.
was my
Oh,
roommate, and so like, but total polar opposite. She works for the government now. She's, and I'm just like insane. So, but we just get along so well. And then finally, one last one. My
please.
best friend Kristen, who lives here in Pittsburgh, she and I met when she pledged the sorority that I was in, Zeta Tau Alpha, and we were thick as thieves. She lived in New York, when I lived in New York, and then it was just such a great thing to be able to move to Pittsburgh and have her, like, she had moved back from New York City, like, 6 months before I arrived here, and
Oh,
so it's been so wonderful to have her here, and that's whose house I'm going to for that glass of wine.
that's so beautiful. One of my college best friends also is a Zeta. I
Mm.
wish I had my backpack because I don't know if they did this when you were active, but they have, like, the breast cancer ribbons
Oh,
that, like,
yes.
are from Zeta. I still have one on my backpack.
Oh, that's
You know?
fantastic.
Yeah, so shout out Zetas because they do some really awesome work, but that's so beautiful, and also, before we started filming, Liz and I were talking about, like, what we're doing today, and Liz was like, "Oh, I'm going to my girl's house, I'm getting, like, a glass of wine, it's gonna be awesome." So to know that's, like, one of your Miami, like,
Mhm.
besties, oh, that's so beautiful, but
Yeah.
let me not hold you from being great and getting a glass of wine with your girl. Thank you so much for your time today, Liz. If anyone else wants to get in contact with you for some reason, is there any other way you want to plug or anything you wanna put out there?
I just started a little bit of a social media thing called Triv and Trav, which combines my 2 favorite things, trivia and travel, and it's all about, like, being curious when you travel and, like, things you can learn, and so
Oh,
it's, like, pretty images and, like, some good travel info, but at the same time, there's some, like, deeper dive information there for trivia folk who wanna, like, learn about something that might come up in their quizzing at some point. So Triv and Trav, TRIV, ampersand Trav or T is my well, actually, there's no ampersand used in Facebook. I apologize. So it's
or
Triv
Instagram,
underscore
right?
Trav underscore. Same thing
Okay,
with Instagram. And you can reach me through those too. They're public and you can message me, slide into my DMs, people.
perfect. This was Liz Canal, and she wants you to sign in her DMs. That's going to
Yes.
be the episode.
You can my husband knows it's fine.
And I promise you that will not be this episode's title. Thank you so much though, Liz. This was a awesome episode. I know so many people are one gonna have so many more questions for you, but also are probably gonna wanna like go stream all your previous game show episodes. Thank you so
Absolutely, and
much
if
for
anybody
making
has
time.
questions about getting on a game show I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like,
No,
I am happy to answer any questions if people are like, "Do you have any tips for an
yeah.
audition or whatever?" Yeah, reach out to me. I love talking about this shit.
Miami Alumni Association, if you guys wanna make that a workshop or a webinar, contact Liz. Could be fun. But seriously, thank you so much, Liz. This was awesome.
Thank you so much for having me, and I love the pod, so I'm just so
Aw.
tickled that you gave
Thanks.
me a call.
Of course, no, and, be on the lookout for Liz's new show debut.
Mhm.
When it comes out, we'll try to post on it on the Miami page, on the pod page, so we can, break the suspense of where your next show is.
Excellent.